Hey guys, good Friday morning. Welcome to Real Talk. It's Jerry Miller. It's good to be with you. It's an absolute pleasure to connect with you on this platform. Fantastic program lined up. Real Talk, undoubtedly the premier broadcast when it comes to real estate, homes, housing, anything strategic with your house in Charlottesville and Central Virginia. It's powered by the Yes Team. And I think on that note, let's welcome to the star of the program to the show, this gentleman right here, Keith Smith, one of the key players on the Yes Team Realtors. Keith, ¿Qué pasa? Good morning. How are you?
¿Qué pasa, amigo? We're working on the Spanish.
Yeah, are you doing well?
I don't know. You tell me.
You are doing well. You're looking sharp. We're going to take a moment. We're going to get into a lot of stuff. We're going to get to we have a lot of people watching already.
Cool. Thank you.
Before we get into it, let's give some props to some of the fantastic sponsors that make Real Talk possible. First, we'd love to give some attention to Mike Bietrick and his team at First Heritage Mortgage.
So Mike Bietrick and his team at First Heritage Mortgage, it's just a bunch of rock stars, just to talk about closing, actually, what happening today, which happens to be my sister, who's the other sponsor for this show. We had some hiccups with the city and the CO, and, there was no questions asked. They just got in front of it and got it done and made it happen. So, I mean, it's just an unbelievable team to work with. And, we're talking off before the cameras went live. I mean, this is all a team effort, and every team member, from Mike Bietrick down to the builder, us real estate agents, had a little bit to do with it to get this project forward and closing today. It was a struggle to get through the city, but we got it to happen with this wonderful team. And Mike, we couldn't do it without Mike.
I love it. First Heritage Mortgage, your answer, your choice for your mortgage needs from a home standpoint. That's a sizzle reel for First Heritage Mortgage right there. Harris Tolbert. Let's cut to the chase, and we'll get to the sponsors, the rest of the sponsors in a matter of moments. Yonna says hello.
Oh.
James Watson says, let's cut to the chase. Let's see the socks. The socks are coming. Ron Gantz, welcome to the program. Lauren Linsky, Laura Jackson, John Wyden, Keswick, Neil Williamson, welcome to the show. We're going to start with getting your home ready for the summer, Keith Smith.
Yeah, so as one might look outside, summer is next week, or a little less than a week, a little bit more than a week from now, and one doesn't look like it's that way. But, this is just an important bunch of tips to get your house ready. I think we're going to throw up some infographics and talk a little bit about them. Most of the stuff that we're going to discuss is, pretty common sense. And then I'd like to talk a little bit about how to do it naturally. Yonna and I are trying our very best to decrease the amount of chemicals that we have in our life. It's good for the environment. It's good for us.
It's good for the pets.
It's good for the pets. It's good for everything. So, and some of these natural cleaners, for lack of a better term, really do the job excellent and for a fraction of the cost.
The curb appeal of the home, oftentimes one of the first, second, or third items that a potential buyer sees. I think a lot of it has to do with what your team does so well, the Yes Team Realtors. You guys take fantastic photography. You guys really know how to write the right copy that sparkles, that describes the home in the MLS. On car.com, mycar.com, for people to fall in love with the home before they see it. And then once they get to the property, a lot of buyers, I feel like, are like me, where they're doing the drive-by.
Sure.
And they're checking out the home from the outside before checking it out. That curb appeal, as the homes are getting ready to be sold, very important, Keith Smith.
Yeah, so we actually encourage our buyers, when they have their short list, to take the time to drive around, check the neighborhoods out. We also encourage them to park the car and go for a walk in the neighborhood, assuming it's a neighborhood that's walkable. If it's out in the middle of 10 acres, that might be a little difficult. But, in a neighborhood that is walkable, walk it, see how it feels. But, we mentioned this in one of our previous shows. Curb appeal is, in my opinion, the first thing that needs to be checked off on the box. Because if it doesn't look right, feel right, the average buyer makes that decision within 7 seconds. If they look at it and it just doesn't jump off at the page or sparkle, we may not even get them in the front door. So, and it's simple things. And I think if the infographic pops up, it's like keep your exterior home power washed and neat and clean, assuming you can power wash it. You know, things that are on the front patio or the decks or something, like pick them up and just kind of make it look showroom ready, for lack of a better term. Again, tend your gardens, pick out weeds, very common, sensible things, which is also part of getting your house ready for the summer. A big thing is what we suggest is airing out your home. Actually did a showing, it kind of went the other direction, did a showing yesterday in an upper end market, and the particular seller put way too many of these in the wall atomizers, and literally we opened the door, it smelled like Lysol. Actually, we turned around and walked out, didn't even get an opportunity to walk through the house. So air it out is important. Keep it clean and fresh smelling, and you know, swap out whatever winter decor you might have. So, you know, if you should have your Christmas lights up still, which is an awesome thing, you know, because you don't have to put them back up again when you're trying to sell your house or getting it ready for the summer. It probably is in your best interest to remove that. So that'll happen before we come in and take photography. Our team will sit down with you and coach you through things such as this. And then, you know, it's the standby. If it needs a coat of paint, touch it up.
I love it. I love it. So that's a sizzle reel. Start with my question about getting ready for the summer, all the way through that answer. If you could write that down for us as well, Judah. Jan O'Connor, welcome to the show. Barbara Lundgren, welcome to the show. Amanda Spagoni, welcome to the program. Alex Tiscornia, hello, que pasa? How are you doing? Thank you kindly for joining us, Alex. You're getting some props from Debbie. And Debbie Gibson Dedamore says, hey, Keith, you're looking sharp.
Thank you, Debbie.
Give the show a like, give it a share. It's amazing, and it's just like everything in life. And we love to say, as humans, we don't judge books by their cover, but that just ain't true.
Oh, amen to that.
You know, it's natural, it's human nature. And I think, you know, a perfect example of what you said is, and I'll try to relate it to us, in the winter, we have these red curtains we put up in our main room, in our living room, because they match the Christmas season, the holiday season. As soon as Christmas is over, my wonderful wife transitions the red curtains over to more springy summer curtains. And little things like that just make the room feel from cozy in the winter to springy and airy and fun and more spacious in the spring and summer. And it's little things like that that sometimes can be overlooked, where the professionals have to come in and say, hey, we need to do this, right? This is going to help you sell your home. Talk to us about that.
So I think you need to get your real estate license because you're really...
I love real estate. I spend like 90 minutes a day on the MLS.
You're really good at this and intuitive thinking. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, again, it's the in 7 seconds, all 5 senses fire off. You walk in, if it's dark and it's not airy and light and it's in the spring or the summer, it just, you know, you're 100% right. You shouldn't judge a book by a cover, but it's human nature to do it. And if we can't get the cover open, we can't read the awesome stuff that's in the book. So we need to get that cover open, and we need to have this buyer stay in that home more than that 7 seconds, so then we can start walking them through. So it's a both sides thing. You know, the seller needs to be thinking that, and our listing team will help you get there. And then on the buyer's end of it, we need to coach the buyer through these negatives, for lack of a better term.
Why do you encourage the potential buyer to go check out their home first, go park in the neighborhood, go walk around before you're there to unlock the lockbox and walk them in the home?
That's a great question. As much as everybody likes to think a real estate transaction is a business transaction, we've had this discussion before. You do business what you feel is a business transaction, but at the end of the day, it is always emotional. Every purchase is always emotional, and it needs to feel right, right? Does the neighborhood feel right? Are you comfortable? Can you see yourself living in this neighborhood? Can you see yourself living in this home? You know, if that isn't the case, it doesn't matter what the price is, doesn't matter what the features are. I mean, this is going to be your home, not a house, your home for the next foreseeable future.
The average person, what, moves every 7 years?
Yeah, it's jumped up actually.
Has it?
It has, yeah. It jumped up to almost 9.
Really? What do you attribute that to?
I think the downturn had a lot to do with that. I think people, once they're in, they're a little bit skeptical. A lot of it is a lack of inventory, in my opinion. We've discussed this before. You know, there's this missing middle in the marketplace. You know, the first-time home buyer, millennial buyers in the market, and then there's the gray hairs, empty nesters. We're the same buyer, actually. Want the same things, want to be in the same place. But this missing middle, which is, frankly, yourself, husband, wife, couple kids, that kind of thing.
You're getting props from Amanda DeVille. Amanda DeVille says, "Hey Keith, how you doing?"
Doing well.
Yonna Smith is saying, "The first impressions. You're a beautiful wife. Your partner in business. First impressions are paramount. They are everything." Troy Butner in Greene County, welcome to the program. Sarah Hill Buczynski, our colleague, our friend, welcome to the program. She's watching in.
Sarah, I sent you a Facebook message. Please call me today.
There you go. Give him a call right there. This portion of the program, this is a sizzle reel waiting to happen. Harris Tolber. This portion of the program, thanks to the wonderful folks at Hairsmith and Company. Talk to us about Hairsmith and Company.
Well, Hairsmith and Company is wholly owned by my sister, and the reason I'm sitting here with a trimmed mustache and hair looking good, at least I hope it's looking good. Jerry, you can tell me if it's not.
It's looking sharp.
There you go.
You always look sharp, dude.
Thank you. Is do the Hairsmith, do to my wife, my sister Megan Smith and her shop, and you know, she does all kinds of things. She actually told me earlier today, which I did not know, she actually has a therapist in her shop. It's a pretty neat thing. So she's pretty cutting edge, different services. Check her out, and you won't go wrong.
I love it. I love it. Give it a Hairsmith and Company, guys. Give them a shout. That's the end of that sizzle reel. We got a question coming in from Tim in Albemarle County, and Tim in Albemarle County has just posted, "I have a townhome invested. I have a townhome investment. I'm thinking about selling. The neighbors on this townhome, which are actually attached to my property, are not the neatest or the cleanest. How do we handle this from the curb appeal standpoint that you're talking about now?" That's a good question.
That's a great question.
That's a tough one because they're attached.
Actually, it's not tough.
Okay, you got the answer. I love it.
So I'm assuming this is part of a homeowners association of some sort?
It does not say, I would think. Yeah, I would think.
I mean, it's some sort of condo association, homeowners association. That's where you need to go. You need to reach out to whoever is managing the association. I would encourage you to read through your condo docs or homeowners association docs. I'm assuming within that, and we can offline find out specifically where it is, and I can offer some more specific direction. But read through your docs, find out what the rules and regulations are. Most of them have an unsightly ordinance or rule of some sort, and then reach out to the managers and say, hey, there's processes for that.
And, you know, interestingly, and I'm going to throw this to you. So I got a condo at the Villas at Southern Ridge. That's an investment property. And I'm on the board.
Okay.
When you have a condo or townhome, you own what's inside the walls.
Correct.
So if there is, and I don't want to assume what's going on with Tim, if there are trash or bicycles or lawn chairs or stuff that does not make the property look good outside his neighbor's townhome, that is not actually his neighbor's property.
Correct.
So going to the board and to the homeowners association, like you said, is a smart move.
Correct.
Because they then are essentially the neighborhood watch, the police of the neighborhood, and they say, look, this isn't your area. You can't leave your property here.
So it's not coming from
the neighbor.
It's not coming from you.
Right. Does it build bad will?
That's exactly right. So you know, first of all, you need to understand your rules and regulations, right? And I have to assume there's some sort of rule in there about unsightliness. And then you know, that's why you're paying whatever you're paying in dues per month, and convey it out there. I'm confident that there's a formal complaint process that needs to go through. In certain respects, I had this conversation actually yesterday with a very prominent real estate lawyer at a closing, and we were discussing homeowners associations. Would be a great subject for a future show. Homeowners associations versus local governments. In many respects, homeowners associations have more rights and ability to do something than a local government does. And I think that'd be a great subject. And thank you.
That's a show by itself.
I think you just.
And what do you mean by that?
So, for instance, just on the foreclosure process, a homeowners association can foreclose actually faster than a lender can. It's a lot of rules and processes in between it, but so that is why the state government has mandated if you live in a homeowners association and or a condo association, you have by right, once you receive the rules and regulations and what they call the POA package or the condo association package, to review and approve it. If you are not satisfied with that for any reason whatsoever, it's an automatic get out of jail free card in a contract. No questions asked on it. And that's why it's very important as real estate agents, and we're representing you as the buyer, that we make sure you get this package as timely as possible, as quickly as possible, so you can review it and make sure you're comfortable with the rules and regulations of the thing. So, and I would encourage it. You can actually go onto the DPOR website, which is part of the government, and it'll talk to you about how this process goes.
That's good knowledge. Start with Tim Ryan's question that came in that I relayed to Keith all the way through that point for Sizzle Reel, because that's valuable right there. You got some people giving you props. Dick Kelly says, "Go Keith, go."
Thanks, Dick. I
this
appreciate
one's
that.
coming from, you might have to help me with this name, Julian Diamastramato.
Oh, yeah.
Julian says, Keith and Yonna Smith were fantastic during the acquisition of my first home. Great advice, always involved and helpful. Good friends as well. I absolutely recommend the Yes Team Realtors.
So Julian is an absolute rock star of a scientist, and I actually was thinking of him last night as I was watching the final episode of Big Bang Theory.
Oh,
Yeah.
why were you thinking about Julian?
Because he's a rock star of a scientist. He's
Okay.
really trying his...
Julian, you're getting some props here from Keith.
Oh, man, he is trying to solve some...
Sarah Hill Buczynski says, know your HOA rules,
Yep.
but first talking directly to the neighbor may work and is sometimes more productive than going straight to the HOA. She also says, if not, then take the action with the HOA. She says, Keith, I'll call you later. Yonna says there's a 3-day rescission period to review your HOA docs, which is what you talked about. Good knowledge right here on this show. Let me throw this to you.
Sarah, just to jump in for a second, Sarah's 1,000% right. I'm just assuming that process has already happened. But yeah, of course, try to figure it out with your neighbor prior to getting the HOA.
Let me throw this to you here, and this is something that I've seen on Twitter a lot. This is something I'm curious about, owning a condo rental. Why are often condos and townhomes maybe a little more difficult to sell and or get financing for?
I disagree on the financing end of it. We do not
no
struggle
problems.
with that. I think you're thinking of condos.
Okay.
Condos are a little bit more difficult to get financing for, but townhomes, attached townhomes, which is what the villas.
Villas or condos? The villas or condos, because they're stacked on top of each other. Townhomes,
I apologize.
Yeah, townhomes are, and you educate me, townhomes side by side.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah.
I apologize. I didn't realize you were in an actual condo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the condos are difficult to do, and it's not to get overcomplicated. And this is something that if you're interested in that, you really need to reach out to Mike Bittrick. But there's this thing called warrantable and non-warrantable, and to put it in a very simple terms is one of the concerns that the regulators have on that is the condo association owned primarily by investors, right? So if it's 51% or more by investors, then what they do is they can control the board. They can control the rules and regulations. Generally, when it's considerably less than 51% owner occupied, it's a little bit more difficult, a little more easier, to get financing for it.
Interestingly, it really, and I'm going to throw this to you, let's spitball, I love this topic, so dependent on the bylaws, and how I know this is from firsthand experience, own roughly 41% of this building. The condo bylaws say that nothing can happen without 80% owner approval. Well, if one person has 41% of the building, that person is kind of dictating the pace and tempo of what's happening in the building. And uniquely, I got a strategy from my mentor. I try to purchase all the properties within the building with its own individual LLC. And I call each individual LLC like Jerry Miller Real Estate 4, Jerry Miller Real Estate 5, Jerry Miller Real Estate 6, Jerry Miller Real Estate 7 LLC. So what's happened is the bankers that are thinking about lending into the building to other potential buyers are seeing the various LLCs there. They're like, hey, what's going on here? And it raises some red flags.
You may be raising red flags, but you're doing it exactly the way you need to do it.
Well, I think so.
No, I know so. That's exactly. When we used to do the development, each development was a separate LLC, right?
Why do you do that? Educate the audience. Compartmentalizes risk.
Well, there you go. I can leave now. You can
no,
do,
stop.
You can do the show
Come on.
You can do the show by yourself. And you still haven't given me gin.
Can you get this man some damn gin over there, Judah Wickhout? Talk to us about compartmentalizing
You know, the ABC
risk.
store is not that far from here. I'm just saying.
Compartmentalizing risk, meaning that if something happens with one, you can just fold it.
That's exactly right.
And the other ones don't tip.
Well, it makes it a little bit, it slows the process down. Ultimately, if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing, they'll get you.
Okay.
It's intended to protect you from things that you don't intentionally do.
Such as?
It could be anything. You
Yeah.
know, somebody, that's more.
Trips and falls?
Yeah, so I'm way out of my comfort zone. That's something we should bring in a lawyer, in which I'm actually working on for a future show. So I banked that question for the moment and asked that. But just from a high level, it's always good to stack in LLCs.
I love it. I love it. It's a very affordable insurance policy. There goes Charlie Kabash, one of the large commercial property owners downtown. James says, shout out to Mike Beatrick and First Heritage Mortgage for providing top-notch mortgage servicing. I think on that note, we should create a sizzle reel. Here we go, Harris. Roy Wheeler Realty Company, the longest standing, tenured real estate firm in Central Virginia, Keith Smith, one of the fine sponsors of this program.
It is. I cannot speak about Roy Wheeler Realty without speaking about Michael Guthrie. Michael Guthrie is the reason we're there, is the reason why it is as successful as it is, the reason why it will continue to be successful. He gets what it is. His primary role is to help us grow our business. That doesn't mean other agencies or other brokerages don't do that, but what makes Roy Wheeler a little bit different, we don't compete against Michael. He doesn't sell, which makes for a very healthy relationship.
I could put that in perspective, and I'm saying this, you're not saying this. This is coming from me, this is not coming from you. For example, with Real Estate 3, the CEO, Jeff Gaffney, has listings. The CEO of Roy Wheeler, Michael Guthrie, does not take listings. He offers Chief Executive Officer support.
That's exactly right.
That's fair.
That's more than fair.
Yeah.
They run it. So as you know, Yonna and I come from a business environment. We look at things and run them as corporations from a business side of it, and that was the most exciting. But what I like the most about working with Michael, he's just an awesome mentor. You can pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Michael, anything from the Cavs to, hey, I'm thinking about doing this show," and he was super supportive of it. And we've got great chemistry. You guys should do this.
I love it. I love it. That's the end of the sizzle reel right there. We have a number of agents watching, including the fabulous Cynthia Viejo of Ness Realty.
Cynthia's a rock star.
She is a rock star. She's a rock star. She was on the show yesterday. Cynthia, you're a rock star. John
It was
Updike.
a great show, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. John Updike, your colleague, is watching. Did you notice Keith Smith had his, what is this word? I can't even say what this word is. What is that word right there?
That means somebody who cut your hair.
Okay.
That's a French word. So Julian will be able to chime in on that because Julian is French. and he'll chime in there. But that's a fancy word for a barber.
Okay.
In case you want to know.
Hairsmith and Co. is where Keith Smith goes for his haircut. Sarah Hill Buczynski says, cannot say enough good things about Michael Guthrie. He is the reason I'm at Roy Wheeler Realty Company as well. Guys, give the show a like, give the show a share. We have a very important topic. Neil Williamson is watching right now.
Hey, Neil.
Neil, I think you're going to like this topic. Let's go, my friend, mi amigo, to the Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust, and we're going to talk about a project that is near and dear to your heart, the Nassau Street Project. This is the start of the sizzle reel. Keith Smith, open-ended question, where do we go from here?
So the best place I know where to start is how I got involved in it. So I'll lead off, and you direct me as you feel is the most appropriate. So this is one of my passions in my life, outside of my beautiful wife and my family, is to try to assist the best way I can with my skill sets in affordable housing. So how I got involved in the Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission, Thomas Jefferson Community Land Trust. Name's a little bit too close. But in any event, I was part of Leadership Charlottesville. Have you familiar with that?
Yes, absolutely.
And so those who are not, it's a best way to put it is there's a type A people that come together. It's about 30 to 40 of us, part of the Chamber of Commerce, and you learn things about the city and how things are done. But at the tail end of it, you get to work with a local nonprofit, and basically they hire a consultant for nothing. So the Community Land Trust was the one that I chose and I was on. So what we were able to do, it was a nonprofit that needed a little bit of structuring, needed a executive director. So through my connections and skill sets, I was able to locate 4 lots on Nassau Street, negotiated an extremely low purchase price of that, was able to petition the city for $240,000 to buy those 4 lots and do what's called a horizontal development. If I get too technical,
this is great. I love it.
Please stop me. The horizontal development, and we ended up putting together. I believe in team building. I'm not smart enough to do anything on my own, but I'm smart enough to know how to bring in some good team members. So we brought in every part of the 4 pillars of affordable housing. We brought the local government in. The city's chipped in for $240,000. We brought in some nonprofits. We're working with PHA, Sunshine as a rock star.
Piedmont Housing Alliance.
Thank you. Is a rock star helping us pre-qualify the buyers through their process. We're working with a ton of private partners. Everything from Fulton Bank to Bramante Homes, Shimp Engineering, everybody that's in my sphere of influence over the years, they got a sales pitch from me. And they are helping build these 4 units that are pretty awesome. They're going to have solar on them. They will be about as close to net zero as one can get.
Nice.
So one of my visions in this was when...
Net zero meaning footprint.
No, use of energy.
Use of energy. Okay.
So,
I'm learning now.
Yeah. So what'll happen is they'll have, it's a thing called net metering, right? So and I think one of our shows will bring Segura Solar on board to talk about solar. I think that'd be a great show.
It's a great show.
Great show to have. But in simplistic terms, there's panels on the roof. It generates X amount of energy. It goes through this net metering meter, pushes the electricity into the system. You get a credit for it. So the hope is that it's balanced, right? So if you use $100 worth of electricity and you're putting $100 back into the system, your electric bill in theory is 0. It goes up and down on usage and so forth and so on. Makes little neat thing about that, and the Segura people will talk about that. So in North Carolina, you actually make money. So if you produce more energy than you're using, you get a check back from the power company. We're not quite there yet. With Virginia, hopefully the legislature will help that process along.
So I want to give you some props.
Sure.
So you are legitimately, so affordable housing is constantly on everybody's, tips of everybody's tongues. Mac Weems is watching the show right now.
Oh.
She says, such an amazing project. Love the show. Love what's going on.
Couldn't do it without Mac.
Jessica Russo, Robert Russo, Jessica Russo, she's
Sure.
watching right now.
Sure.
A lot of agents watching.
Another
right now.
awesome agent.
She's fantastic. A lot of agents watching right now. Rob Lawson in Richmond, Dan Barnes in Crozet, Tim Ryan is still watching. Michael Jameson in Charlottesville is watching right now. Meg Taylor in Albemarle County. John Gilmer is watching in Fluvanna County. Chris Turner in Louisa is watching right now. Give the show a like, give it a share. You are legitimately building affordable housing. A lot of talk, a lot of chatter, and I do a show where I hear a lot of the chatter. Sometimes that chatter is folks trying to leverage it for their personal political gain. Sometimes that is chatter that is actually leading to actual action. And that's what you guys are doing. Tangible production. Talk to us about the tangible production with the affordable housing piece on the Nassau Project. Start that sizzle reel now there, Harris Tolbert.
So it's kind of in my nature. I'm a doer. If I latch on to something, I, kind of don't let it go. I kind of beat it until it's done getting beat. So again, through my contacts and my 30-something years of doing this, we were able to put this together. And it was extremely important to me when we are going to create these affordable housing units that they are of such a quality that not that some other.
You're not marginalizing others.
I'm not marginalizing others, and others do wonderful jobs, but me personally, it was important that the level of finish and the level of quality was that of an upper end home. So they're on the market for $215 a piece. They're
in the city of Charlottesville.
In the city of Charlottesville.
What's the specs on each?
Oh, the list is long. We've got everything from solar on the roof, 2x6 walls. We've got hardy plank siding. We've got triple glazed low E glass.
How about beds, baths, square footage?
So 1,500 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
Damn, excuse my language, 215,
Yeah.
3 bed, 2 bath, 1,500 squares?
Yeah.
That's legit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed.
Thank you.
That's not found in the city of Charlottesville.
So the appraised value is the market value. The appraised value is a little bit lower. The market value is in the 350.
At least.
Yeah. So
depending on how many people are jumping in to purchase, it could go north of that.
No, I
think 350?
350 is a realistic number. Some of my fellow real estate agents may agree or disagree with me, but
Cynthia is saying, I'm thoroughly enjoying this conversation. This is an absolutely fantastic topic.
no, she's a
It's
rock.
the affordable housing.
The fact that Cynthia says that makes everything I'm doing worth it.
Keep
Yeah.
the sizzle reel going here. So 215, how does someone buy?
So great question. There's a process through this. There's income qualifications. I think we have the ability to put up the website. We only have 4. We currently have probably 10 to 15 people in the pipeline. So next week when Greg Slater, who's my chairman on the land trust, hopefully he'll talk a little bit about an update on how that, but there's a very specific funnel or pipeline that's required to do this. So again, hopefully we can put up the website, but there's a registration process. You have to register. You have to be able to qualify income producing. So just to talk a little bit about that, currently a 1-person household is 50,000, a little over, 2-person 57, 3-person 64, and a 4-person is 71,005. And we talked about this in a previous show. Though the AMI, area median income, went down, these income limits actually went up by several $1,000s.
Why do you think that is?
That's a great question. And I don't know the answer to that. And I will get that answer for you for the next time. I'm just glad it did, because that makes the pool a little bit deeper.
Sure.
On that end of it. So what'll happen is you fill out the online. It's a survey. They call it a survey, but it's a registration form. And then what we'll do is we'll have to have a meeting with our land trust team, more than likely Greg Slater. We need to explain the system to you. We explain what a land trust is versus there's some very different ownership models, the way this works, then you'll get through that. Then you'll go through PHA, go through their process. That's basically it's a new home owner process. You get a certificate from that. Then you'll sit down with the folks at Fulton Bank, which Mac was wonderful to help us.
Mac Weems is watching right now.
Yeah, helped us organize. She's again another rock star. And then when you spit out of that, we will then write a contract. So it's very important. We have a very clear, delineated process in here. And we have a couple of 3 people already, some in the second phase, some in the third phase of this funnel. But whoever pops out first gets the first contract on the first unit.
First come, first serve, as long as you meet the qualifications.
You have to go through this process.
I love it. I love it. And the sizzle reel right there. I would think that you're going to have obscene, and you're already having an obscene demand for these 4 units.
We do, and it might not be a bad idea to talk about the difference between what a land trust model is
Please.
and other models. So the best way that I explained it, we talked about condos today, is think about it as a condo. So what happens here is the land trust will own the land, period. So what we do is we receive the money from the city, we purchased it, we will own the land, we will then sign a 90-year lease with the buyer. So it's like a condo scenario, right? So the condo association or townhome association, the condo association owns the dirt, right? And then you own your unit within that. I find that the simplest way to explain it. So the reason I'm most excited about this, the land trust, and we're the second in the state to do this. It's Charlottesville and Richmond. Richmond's been around a little. No, I apologize. We've been around longer than Richmond's land trust. But what happens here is you sign this 90-year lease. You're ready to move out, right? You're ready to move up or ready to do whatever, and you must sell to another 80% AMI. So whenever you do this, 5 years, 7 years down the line, there will be a new series of income requirements, and that buyer must meet that income requirements. You get to keep a percentage of your equity. You keep all of.
You keep what the home made for you. You're earning the.
No, you don't keep all of it. So I want to be clear about that.
Okay.
So you keep approximately 25% of it.
Okay.
So if
you banked 100, you're keeping 25.
There you go.
Okay.
But you also get to keep, if you have paid your 215 down to 100, you keep, or 115, just to keep math a little simpler, then you are walking away with 125.
And do you get the tax benefits?
You do.
Of home ownership.
You do.
So you're winning 3 ways.
You're winning.
And then you win the 4th way because of the pride and the sense of self that you're building in a home.
That's exactly right.
I love it. And the land trust wins because the land trust could potentially leverage leverage the land it has to potentially scale in other ways.
Yes, but so you and I are thinking way ahead of where my current board is at the moment.
But why wouldn't you do that?
We're going to get there eventually. It's a process. It takes a little bit of time.
Because then you can leverage the P&L and the balance sheet saying, look at the money that's coming in. We can do this again and again and again.
Yeah. So you and I are moving at 110 miles an hour.
All right, sorry, I'll stop.
No, I mean, I like the way you're thinking, and that's ultimately what we're going to need to get.
I'm just thinking about big business.
I got it. So it's taken us, it was in 2016. So we are a little over, 3 years now, and we have built a business model that is scalable. The only restriction at the moment is the lack of funds to purchase. So there's a donate button on the website. If anybody feels the need, please hit the donate button. We'll take everything we can get. This is what we'll do. One of the frustrating parts for me is if a lot comes on the line for $125,000, the land trust currently doesn't have that cash
on hand
to go buy. So we need to put it on the contract. So we are now competing with everybody else.
You're competing with the market.
Competing with the market.
Yeah.
And then what I need to do is then beg the seller, please give me time.
Right.
To go.
How much more time do you need than the average buyer?
2 2 to 3 times.
Really?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, we got to go find grant money. We got to petition the city.
So that's why you want to leverage the value of the land to potentially have capital, quicker access to capital to scale quicker.
You and I are thinking alike. My board's not there yet, though.
Why not? Because of the risk?
It takes time.
Okay.
Takes time.
Good.
Slow down.
Cynthia says this is a well-thought-out strategy. John Updike, we have a number of real estate agents watching right now, and they love this conversation.
So remind me to tell you the story about the old bull and the young bull on the top of the. It is not appropriate for this.
We can't talk about that now?
This is a typical Marine Corps story. Off air, I will share that with you.
I love the off-air stories on the Real Talk program. You remind me. You are, I feel like, the definition of a social entrepreneur or a conscious capitalist. You run a for-profit business that has to pay the bills, keep the lights on, give its employees and its team members raises, do well by them. But you do it in a way, a conscious capitalistic way, where you're leaving your footprint in your world and your community better than when you first arrived.
You know, I've never given it any thought. This is who we are. This is what we do. You know, if there's a title to it, fine. But
there's a title.
There you go. Well, there you go.
Welcome to the program, Ray Cadell. Thank you kindly for watching. I love the land trust. So you know what? Get up the call to action for the Yes Team, will you? How you can contact the Yes Team, because I have a feeling some people want to contact the Yes Team and Keith and Yonna. What is the future once the units are sold? Mm-hmm. You play the waiting game to see what's next available?
No, I'm a recovering developer and builder.
Yeah, and you're 1,000 miles an hour guy.
These 4 units in my head are built, sold, and lived in 12 months ago.
Right. That's how I am.
I'm on the next opportunities. Our major focus. We got a actually board meeting, I think Monday or Tuesday. Our focus needs to be, we've built the systems, we know how to do this, we've got the team members, we just need capital. That's our focus. We got to raise capital. Look, it's just one tool in the toolbox. Habitat does freaking awesome stuff. The structure's different.
Yeah, what's the difference?
It's really this 90-year lease. That's the major difference. We are solely focusing on keeping it affordable for the extended period of time. So the vision here is these one of these units, you buy it for $215, and then across the street one that's similar in size and whatever is $350.
So it's going to increase the value of the $215 just from being across the street.
Well, value is of course, but it's more about mixing communities together of different incomes. It's something I'm personally passionate about, and it just makes a more holistic neighborhoods. It's not this, this neighborhood is here and this neighborhood's there. It integrates the neighborhood from a income perspective.
I love it. Bellamy Brown, your boy, is joining us on the program. Chris Jensen, Real Estate 3. What up, Chris Jensen? Good people right there. Pat Jensen's kid. We love Pat Jensen on this program.
That's another rock star.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm flattered. There's nothing but rock star realtors watching this.
There's a ton of realtors watching right now. Get the Yes Team graphic up on the screen again.
I got to be careful.
Well,
make sure I don't make a mistake.
Yeah, you're not making any mistakes. You're crushing it today. This is the best one we've done so far.
It is, because I'm not thinking.
Yeah, it's because you and I bantering. I love it.
Most people who know me say I don't think, but that's a different story.
That's not true.
It's true.
We need to go to the sock cam.
The sock cam. I was
told to show a little leg.
I showed the leg.
Show a little leg right there. Look at the leg he's showing right there. Harris Tolber, you going to the sock cam for us, baby? He is going to the sock cam. Come on, let's keep those up. What do we got here?
I got them up.
Can you give us a description there? Are those? Is that a martini glass?
I have martini glasses and.
Is that fuchsia? What color is that right there? Is that? That's not pink, is it? What color is that?
It's awfully close to pink to me.
I like it, man. You're looking sharp, dude, and you got some nice kicks. Where are those kicks from right there?
Those are Bostonians.
Bostonians. This guy's pimping.
The biggest
got a deal under contract too. I can't talk about it because it's under contract. I want to talk about it.
Can't talk about it.
I want to talk about it.
You got to watch out. Look at that, huh? You got to watch out for you
I like deals.
Yeah, I know, but you got to watch out for you journalist types. You know?
I'm not a journalist. I own an advertising agency.
Okay, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the biggest pressure I have with this show is not coming up with content, and you and I got to buy like 52 pair of socks.
And then you have to get a haircut every week.
Because you're going to call
Hairsmith & Co.
And you're going to call me out if I show up with the same
Do
socks.
you get the hookup at Hairsmith & Co.?
No.
No, you do not get the hookup.
No, so that's interesting. This is so we come from family businesses, always had family businesses, always did. If I provide a service to you, I expect to get paid for that service. You provide a service to me, I expect to get paid for that service. None of this bartering stuff. It only generates bad will.
Yonna says, keep it clean, guys. We are, Yonna. I'm sorry, Yonna. Yes, ma'am.
You know, you mentioned once
Absolutely.
before she was my North Compass.
North Star.
North Star, there you go. And Compass, too. She keeps me going.
We are keeping it clean. That's what I'm responding. Do you want to say anything to her?
Oh, of course, I love the heck out of that woman. I can't. So the socks are in honor to our vacation that we got coming up soon.
Oh, talk to us about that.
No,
You don't want to?
of course not.
Oh, well, we have to talk about it in relation to what we can expect from the program, though.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
I thought you were going a different route.
Yeah, talk to us.
There's certain things about this vacation you're not old enough to know about.
Yonna's saying, keep it clean again, dude.
Well, you can go any place you want to go with that.
Well, isn't that what you were alluding to?
I wouldn't allude to anything.
Yes, you were.
Not me.
Talk to us about what we can. I'm dying over here. Talk to us about what we can expect from Real Talk over the next few weeks. While you guys are out of the country. That's fair.
Sure. So next week we'll have Greg Slater and Jim Duncan. They'll kind of pick up a little bit on the land trust as Greg is the chair, and then talk about the Crozet market. On the 31st, we have Caitlin Mancini coming in. She's going to talk about staging and some other market data. And frankly, I haven't quite figured out who the 7th is going to be. So I'll take any input from folks watching would be helpful. I was thinking maybe Michael Guthrie, but with his health condition, I'm not really sure. I want to put him in an awkward position.
Real Talk, guys, the insider program for real estate in Charlottesville and across Central Virginia, the epicenter of knowledge when it comes to your home, when it comes to buying and selling. It's powered by the Yes Team, airs on Fridays at 10:15 on the I Love Seville network. This is undoubtedly the best show we have done. It is now 11:10. We've crushed it. Brian Rothamel is watching. Can I give Brian some props?
He's a rock star, man.
Yeah, he's watching right now.
Yeah, you know, he's a rock star. I'm going to talk him into coming in here one day.
Brian, we would love to have you on the show.
Yeah,
We love you on this show.
Yeah, I would love the opportunity for him to discuss of the awesome stuff that he's doing in Fluvanna County, Zions Crossroads. Fluvanna is about ready to move in the right.
It's going to freaking boom.
Yeah, but
It's already booming.
Yeah, but the leadership that Brian is going to provide, I truly believe, and I'm not just saying this because he's listening, because you and I've had this discussion before. I think he's going to bring exactly what is needed. The timing is perfect, and I keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on that guy. He's going to be a rock star.
Okay, I'm going to say it here. You might disagree. Okay.
Am I surprised?
Crozet, 2010 to 2019 Crozet is what is going to be Greene County 2019 to 2029 and Fluvanna County 2019 to 2029. What I'm saying is the next 10 years of hotness, Fluvanna, Greene, Zions Crossroads, just like the hotness we saw in Crozet over the last 10 or 15 years. No
argument here. Was I supposed to argue with
Which one do you think would be hotter, Fluvanna or Greene?
I think Fluvanna.
You think so?
Yeah, sure. It's because there's so many good things in the pipeline.
And you know.
And I do.
Yeah.
And literally, the word pipeline was the appropriate word. And it has this awesome intersection. One of these days, if you have an opportunity, it's called the Divergent Diamond Interchange, which is a big fancy word for.
Yeah, what does that mean?
Yeah, so you know the old traditional clover leaf interchange that you would have on, like, in this case it's 15 and 64.
Uh-huh.
You need to Google it one day. It's they actually bring traffic on itself.
Okay.
It's very popular in Europe. There's only a couple of cases here in the United States that it's in, and it's solely designed to flow traffic. So VDOT was way ahead of the curve on this years ago, knowing that the growth of the Zions Crossroads is going to be there. And so one of the things I can talk about, Thomas Jefferson Planning District Commission is spearheading, based on a motion I made about a year ago, to bring Louisa County Administrator and Fluvanna County Administrator to start talking about working together to develop the Zions Crossroads area. So it is not a us and them scenario. It is an us scenario, a team effort. So those discussions are happening at the high level, and so that it's really nothing but great things are going to happen out there under the leadership of Brian, I think.
I love it. Brian, you got an open seat anytime you want on Real Talk. You crushed it.
Thanks, bro.
It's fun.
Yeah, man.
It was fun. Fridays, 10:15 on the I Love Seville Network. Fridays, 10:15. Put it in your phone if you're trying to follow real estate in an approachable, intelligent, and fun way. This is undoubtedly the best program for you to interact with and to engage with. Keith Smith, Yonna Smith, and the Yes team bring a level of knowledge that I don't think you can find on the market. Okay? It's Real Talk, Fridays, 10:15 on the I Love Seville Network. For Harris Tolbert, Judah Wickower, Lauren Linsky, Keith Smith, I'm Jerry Miller. It's Real Talk. Enjoy the rest of your morning.
Thank you, brother.
It was fun.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
the best one we did.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Feel great about it.
And it was totally...